It all began with a raider named Orble. Orble was an enhancement shaman who was kicked from the guild. And Amara and Dub were the two co-GMs, a boyfriend and a girlfriend of 5 years.
Oh, Jesus. It's already awful.
Oh, just
After
wait.
Now, after 5 years of being together, Amara had, let's just say, become happy with the relationship. And she began talking to people about it. Specifically, she began talking to Orble, who was very, very understanding about the situation. And then, one day, well, actually, before this one day, Amara began to tell everybody on her friends list that she was unhappy with her boyfriend, and everybody off of her friends list, and everybody in guild, and everybody out of guild, and everybody on the server, and everybody off the server, to use as a psychological battering ram against any choice that she might not leave. And then one day, she and her boyfriend had a fight, and she went to her mother's house. She did not go to her mother's house. She drove across the state to Orble's house.
Holy shit.
And then she came back. And her boyfriend took her back. And nobody was allowed to say anything about this.
This is so great.
If you mentioned anything about it,
ever.
you were kicked. If you questioned why that person was kicked, you were kicked as well. If you spoke with anybody who was kicked, you were kicked. And in the very last days of the guild, there were only 10 of us who had ever killed the boss. And on the night that we disbanded, there were 4 people who were desperately trying to learn the fight all at once, including one little arms warrior, Mel, that you know of, doing 50k DPS with mythic gear and bloodlust.
Oh, yeah,
And
I
after
remember
that night, and after 70 wipes in, Dub simply dissolved the guild, demoted everybody to member, put his rank as guild meanie, sold off the big guild bank piecemeal, and then disbanded Amicitia.
So,
Was she
is
hot?
she hot?
I don't know. I'm not Orble, nor am I Dub.
So is she
That's
hot?
fucking
That's
great.
what you want us to think.
Wait, who else asked if
I'm gonna
she
put
was
this
hot?
on YouTube as the Fall of Amicitia right here.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Oh
Can I
dear.
put this on the forums?
Then you should link it to Deb
God.
over and over again. Different
I love this guy's voice. Oh.
I need Wells to fucking intro it and then have him tell
Yeah.
it.
That was good. That was
Well,
a great
just
story.
Ensure it and just
On
grunts
U.S.
and moans.
Stormreaper.
I like the part where she came back and no one could say anything.
She came back.
And no one could see me.
Oh shit.
I'm sorry, Ashley, I didn't hear you.
Tell him to go ahead soup store now.
Oh dear. How many of you are familiar with Haitian cuisine?
Hold on. Can we get Wells to do an intro for you?
Haitian cuisine.
Oh dear.
Simple.
Okay, so I was a Mormon missionary for 2 years, and
Yeah,
my
you were.
church asked me to learn Haitian Creole, so I did. And as a missionary, you don't say no whenever anybody offers you food. And so I'm off at an old Haitian lady's house, and I'm serving soup, or boulette, comme on dit en créole.
Oh, en français?
And... Non, je ne parle pas français, je peux seulement parler créole haïtienne. Mais à cause de cela, je peux deviner quelques phrases en français.
I feel like Joey said all the French he knows.
No, I understood a little bit what he said. He said I don't speak French. I speak Creole French, basically.
Exactly. However, I can guess a few phrases. And so the soup was actually really, really good. And I asked the old Haitian mommy what the little floaters in the soup were. And she said, "Muel." Now I'd heard that word before. I just thought it meant bone marrow, which I was used to eating at that point. However, as I continue ladling, my ladle hits a very solid object in the middle of the soup. And so, of course, I stand up to see what it was inside the giant soup bowl. And
My nuts.
No, it was the skinless, grinning skull of a goat, whose back of the head had been blasted out, and whose brains were floating all over. It turns out that they use the exact same word for brains as they do for bone marrow.